Fox News. First images of ICE mass deportation efforts show arrest of MS-13 gang members and murder suspects. Trump administration moving rapidly to fulfill mass deportation promise. So I guess we're hearing that already over 500 violent criminals, or there have been 500 arrests, many of them violent criminals. They say Fox News embedded exclusively with ICE in Boston as the agency targeted egregious criminal aliens, including MS-13 gang members and murder suspects, as part of mass deportation efforts under Trump. Fox News witnessed ICE Boston make 8 arrests, including multiple MS-13 Interpol Red Notices, murder and rape suspects, and a volatile Haitian gang member with 18 convictions in recent years who told our cameras that he ain't going back to Haiti and F Trump Biden forever. Did you guys see that clip where he's screaming, F Trump, I ain't going back? Well,
what a meme.
Was it Tom Homan? He was like, well, he's going back, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I was speaking to a Venezuelan the other day, and they were saying to me, it's actually getting a little bit more safe on the streets of Caracas because of all the criminals going to America.
I'm bummed out you can't see the ICE agents. I wanted to see big smiles on their faces. They're tossing the criminal aliens into.
Could perhaps this be why Trump's approval rating is so high?
I mean, this is what people elected him for. People can make up the Democrats on X and on Blue Sky can make a whole bunch of noise if they want. But the average person that said, you know what, I want to vote for Trump, they voted for Trump knowing full well that he was going to round people up. There was no ambiguity about it. He was like, yes, we're going to round up the criminals. I've been talking about the criminals since 2016. I mean, he's going to be, everyone knew that was coming and they still voted for him. And he won the first, Republican majority since 2000 or since like 1988 or something like that. So
it's been a minute since Reagan, I guess.
Yeah, it was not a surprise, and this is what the American people want. And I think that this is part of the reason why he has such a high approval rating, because he's doing the things that he said. Americans do not like the idea of criminal aliens running around in the streets, and they see videos like that dude swearing up and down and saying, I'm not going anywhere, and the guy is a criminal. It's like, all right, good, we get that guy out of here. That's what Americans want. Americans like the idea of the Marines going to the border ready to get into gunfights with the cartels if the cartels shoot at the Marines. That's something the American
like what the Polish guy was saying the other night. He's like, why not just kill? Just kill.
Which is, we don't say that kind of stuff here.
Well, no, I mean, and to clarify, because we brought it up, CBP has long been authorized to use lethal force against lethal force.
Yeah.
That is, I think the issue is...
If it's a cartel or whatever.
Yeah, like, because the cartels are armed. There's a video of them carrying, automatic rifles. There were shootings on the border already. CBP is authorized to return fire. The federal law enforcement have guns. We're not talking about random dudes here. We're talking about federal law enforcement and National Guard that are armed. And so Trump sending them down to the border.
Well,
I suppose the issue that Dominic was bringing up is that we have sort of this like non-confrontational policy where we usually just retreat and hope they go away. And I don't know what we can expect, but at least internally, we're going to see what Trump has already done. The DEA and the ATF have been granted deportation powers.
Yep.
The Pentagon has confirmed Air Force aircraft will be used to deport illegal immigrants, and they're going to be staffed internally with federal law enforcement, not military. Well, so the goal here from Trump and the administration is not to engage the military directly, but to use existing federal law enforcement with the resources of the military.
The Marines are there, fully armed, as if they were going on any other operation, as if they were being deployed anywhere else, with the authority. If you take fire, you are to return fire. That is a
they
good
never
thing.
Do.
Well, now I don't
know that they will.
They have not in the past. They haven't. But I mean, look, if you're sending, I don't know what the Marines are like. These particular guys.
The issue right here specifically is that operating on the border, I believe, still falls under posse comitatus. And so there have been, legal scholars stating that we expect not to see the U.S. military that's been deployed, which is, I believe, 1,000 Army and 500 Marines. They will not be engaging in ground operations. They're going to be providing intelligence, air support, but they won't be engaging directly. Federal law enforcement have been granted the authority to do so, specifically because posse comitatus, the military can't engage in enforcing domestic law.
So, like, you guys have, I just don't understand, if you've got criminal gangs literally invading your country, right? And you've got them building tunnels and bringing in all sorts of drugs that could kill the population multiple times over.
That does kill the population.
That does, yeah. I mean, you lost like 80,000 people in a year. That's unbelievable numbers to lose over these drugs being smuggled into the country. At what point does it actually become a situation where you say, okay, this is an actual invasion? And I guess Trump is doing that now,
he declared,
which is good.
Yeah, invasive force on the southern border.
It just blows my mind that it hasn't happened yet.
You know, it's crazy because times are different, and we see these migrant caravans where you've got 2,000 people and they're carrying flags of their nation as they march towards the border. What do you think would happen if you went back to, like, I don't know, the 1200s or whatever? Let's do this. Let's go back to the Roman Empire, and a horde of 5,000 people flying the banner of another nation tried to march towards Rome. It would not go well for them.
No.
It would be war instantly. Now, because of, I believe largely of social media, there's no tolerance for any kind of violent action. And so when these migrant caravans are marching and they're flying flags of their home countries, the United States just says, welcome to America, I guess.
Looks like the Olympic opening ceremony.
But Donald Trump says you can stay in Mexico. I do not believe, I believe everyone agrees, and any reasonable person, you're not an asylum seeker if you travel through 12 countries to get to the United States. If you are from Mexico and you come to the southern border to escape gangs, okay, that makes sense. You can go south or you can go north. All right, you came to America. Okay, I guess let's figure it out. If you're from Canada, I can understand why you fled to America. Shout out to Viva Fry. We get it. But for people who came from Africa, it's like, bro, you could have stopped in Brazil. Brazil's awesome. So they fly to Brazil and then make their way up to the United States. Those aren't asylum seekers. Mm-hmm. So these people are not going to be allowed in. There's not going to be violence toward them. They're going to be physically removed. If they enter illegally, they're going to be deported. And it's really fascinating to me that Democrats are acting like this is the apocalypse when we're literally saying, hey, man, we didn't invite you over, but we'll give you a ride home. And they're like, oh, it's torture. It's so evil. And it's like, actually, it's kind of nice. You know, like one of your homies shows up to your house late at night and you're like, okay, I guess you can hang out for a little bit. And then you look at your watch and you're like, bro, it's time for you to go home, man. I'm going to give you a ride. And they're like, oh, you're kicking me out? Dude's like, yeah, I'm kicking you out and I'm giving you a ride home. It's the nicest thing I can do for you.
Yeah.
As far as Mexico go and a lot of these South American countries go, I think the bigger issue at play is that these are narco states and there is not enough political will, either domestic or there, to deal with it in a serious way because of the violence that it would bring. So neither here or in Mexico do they actually want to deal with the cartel in a serious manner, or they'll murder you.
Do you think they're in bed with the cartels?
Oh, definitely. And if they're not, then they murder you. They murder the politicians that aren't in bed with the cartel. Same with the news journalists there.
Yeah.
Any legitimate criticisms to the cartel is they'll chase you down and murder you. And if we deal with them in a serious manner on our side of the border, then we'll see violence erupt. And I don't think the Americans have the stomach for this. And in Mexico, they'd rather cooperate with these cartels than
I'm saying if the will was there from Trump, for example, and if he said to Mexico, hey, listen, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. You guys have a military. You can mobilize your military. You're stronger than these cartels.
All of these they're not. They're not. All of the institutions in Mexico are deeply embedded by the cartel, and they will not go after them.
How do you think El Salvador did it?
They say in El Salvador that the guy there Trump says Bukele is working with the cartel.
He's working with the cartel.
That's what Trump has said before.
I don't think he said that.
I think Trump's accusation that he was sending criminals to America.
That he was releasing criminals who were coming to America.
Okay, so that's how he was dealing with them. But seems like a different deal if he's sending them to America.
But I mean, there's no doubt that there's big facilities with lots of high-ranking gang members in El Salvador, and they're locking them up there and they're punishing them severely. And that was the murder capital of the Western Hemisphere, and now it's not.
Sure. Well, it seemed like Mexico's going more left-leaning now with their new female president that they elected over there.
That's why you can't have female presidents.
There isn't the political will in Mexico to deal with the cartel issue at all.
So you're of the opinion that the United States wouldn't be able to do anything because the Mexican government
is a narco state and
work
so in bed with the cartel. Yeah, it's hard to make deals with the Mexicans because the Mexicans are run by the cartels. And if we do deal with the issue head on, then we will face a lot of violence from the cartels.
Do you think that the United States the U.S. wouldn't have the stomach to actually deal with the cartels because the cartels would have a lot of violence
that would follow? Yeah, unfortunately. Unless the cartel played nice, and then you'd have to make deals with the cartel. But they are so deeply ingrained in Mexico and different South American countries that they aren't going anywhere. The state of Mexico is run by the cartels and gang members.
I mean, all I hear you saying is that we need to do to Mexico,
Liberate Mexico?
We'll do to Mexico what we did in the Middle East, because we've shown, the United States military has shown that they are capable of dismantling terrorist organizations, and that's exactly what the cartels are. So if the United States has to go in and say, look, you're either going to handle the cartels or we're going to take you out of power, I think that's something that's actually on the table.
It's a lot of American blood to liberate Mexico, and if we do it, then I don't think we should have
And
to
also,
leave.
it's another situation where you're on away turf as well, big time.
When you what?
Like you're on away turf,
away.
like in Vietnam as well.
Well, we're at home on the border
No,
here,
it's right on the
too.
border. It's not the same kind of a
Depends how
wager.
deep you wanted to go into America,
so-
because these drug cartels are all linked through South America. They go up through Chile and then up through Colombia and Peru and Ecuador and all the way up into Mexico as well.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.